Malcolm X, one of the most influential and controversial figures of the civil rights movement. His powerful speeches, unwavering stance on Black empowerment, and the role in the Nation of Islam left a lasting impact on American history. But how did his ideas evolve, and what key movements shaped his activism? In this video, we'll break down Malcolm X's journey through an interactive ClioVis timeline, tracking his rise, his major speeches, ideological shifts, and his lasting legacy. Let's dive in. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and comment what videos you would like to see next. I'll pass it over to Evelyn.
The civil rights movement marked a period of time in American history where Americans acknowledged the unequal rights and opportunities for minority groups, primarily African Americans, in the 1950s through late 1960s. This movement was led by individuals such as Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and Rosa Parks. Today we will discuss the progression of the civil rights movement through the lens of Malcolm X. Malcolm X became an influential figure and a speaker of the rights of African American citizens who followed Islamic religion. Malcolm X's name was actually Malcolm Little until he was arrested in 1946 for grand larceny, breaking and entering, and firearm possession. During this time, he met another inmate who he called Bimby, who introduced him to Islam and the Nation of Islam, which is currently known as Black Muslims. Part of what made him so influential was that he was both a minister following the Nation of Islam and a young African American man in the 1950s. During the time, the U.S. was aiming some of its attention towards the civil rights movement and creating equal rights for all citizens. One of the key moments in this movement was the Birmingham demonstrations. These demonstrations occurred in Birmingham, Alabama, and were protests that were led primarily by Martin Luther King Jr. One of the key differences between Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X was that MLK relied on the peaceful aspect of the movement, while Malcolm X believed that violence was a necessary evil in order to establish equal rights. But the Birmingham demonstrations are what led to Dr. King's letter from Birmingham jail, which ultimately influenced media attention into JFK creating the Civil Rights Bill. However, JFK was assassinated before this bill could be put into place, and it was later adopted by President Lyndon B. Johnson. The revised bill prevented discrimination for African American citizens on the basis considering voting, employment, and the segregation of public facilities. While Martin Luther King Jr. was an influential member of the movement, he was not the only one. Going back to Malcolm X helped spread the word of Black citizens in part due to a newspaper called Mr. Muhammad Speaks, which was a widespread Black nationalist paper that combined the teachings of the Nation of Islam with the empowerment of Black writers, authors, and artists. But in 1965, Malcolm X was assassinated while giving a speech at the Afro-American Community Rally in New York City. 3 men were charged with his murder. However, in 2021, 2 of the men were exonerated by District Attorney Cyrus Vance Jr. Overall, Malcolm X played an influential part in the civil rights movement by creating a balance between the peaceful protest and giving a second viewpoint that brought the rights that were equally deserved amongst all citizens in America. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to follow us for more engaging content. Every Friday for the next few weeks, we'll be sharing fascinating stories about historical events that took place on Fridays. Stay tuned for more fun and intriguing history brought to life with ClioVis. Ready to create your own timeline? Start your ClioVis journey today at ClioVis.com and dive into history like never before.